welcome. This is Past But Present Live. This is our first episode that we're going to do very often, I think, and we're going to chat about different subject matters. And, this is a very loose format. It's kind of a conversation, and we really invite anybody watching this live to join us on whether it's the chat on YouTube. You can send us a message, or you can join via Riverside, which is the app I'm using. In the description of the YouTube page is the Riverside link, and you can come on, we can bring you in and we can talk. But I'm Robert Lyon. I am a filmmaker. We Don't Die Films and our TV show Past But Present with Evidential Medium Jennifer Brazier, who is joining me now. Hi, Jen.
Hello. How are you doing, Robert?
I'm good. I am getting ready to take a drive up to Central Florida for a tubing excursion with my daughter. And as
Oh,
soon as we're done with the show today, I'm going to be driving about 4.5 hours up to uh, it's north of Orlando and kind of near Ocala. So it'll be fun. And yeah, get into nature and just kind of take a few days off and reset.
that sounds nice. When I'm finished here, I will be driving my vehicle to get it maintenance. So, um, I'd rather be with you and your daughter tubing.
It's a very different afternoon for us. But if anyone's watching this and doesn't know what Past But Present is, we have a TV show that where we go and we actually take Jennifer to places that she doesn't know where she's going, and she uses her mediumship and psychic abilities to tell the stories of the history of the land. And usually, she's blindfolded before we go, or she has
Mhm.
usually no idea where we're going. That TV show is available on our website, pastbutpresent.com, and it's coming soon to Tubi TV. When it comes to Tubi soon, it will be with commercials. So if you want to watch it without commercials and support our channel, go to pastbutpresent.com and you can download the full season or just one episode. We have 6 so far, and we are plotting our second season currently. And
Yes.
that's yeah, that was the inspiration for doing the live show. Kind of just a chance to get together with our audience and with each other and talk about all things spiritual and afterlife, and kind of just really get into it. So
You know, what I like, Robert, about this concept of having it on YouTube or and have people able to watch it after or currently or during is that we get to hear from you guys out there. What do you think? You're going to hear my opinion, my experiences, Robert's, but we would love for you guys to participate. So, it comes from the concept of past but present. Past meaning those that in past the history, and then also current those that have currently passed. And when I say currently, I'm talking within like the last 10 years. So the topics that we will be exploring, there'll be guests that we'll be bringing on, and our opinions are just our opinions. So we're not here to sword fight over the fact that somebody believes one thing and somebody believes another. It's just having an open mind and an open heart to possibility that there's other concepts, there's other ideas. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I'm looking forward to participating in it, and also working alongside you, Robert, again. I really enjoy that.
well,
We get
we
a lot
have
of giggles.
a few people signed on since we started, and if you missed the message at the beginning and you want to participate live with us on video, just click on the link in the description of the YouTube channel for the Riverside link, and that'll bring you into our room here. But if you don't want to appear, that's fine too. You can also just text us in the chat box, question or comment. Let us know you're out there. Let us know if we sound good and if the stream is working. This is our first time doing this, so bear with us. But I think it's going pretty smooth so far. I think, well, I hope. But anyways, this is our episode today is called "What is the Soul?" And this is a question that I often ponder, because I have a hard time grasping what's the difference between our soul and our spirit and our self, our mind. And I think there's different ways of looking at that, and that's what this is about. So I have some questions for Jen because I really want to pick your brain, Jen, coming from an evidential mediumship side, someone that's aware of the spirit world. Have you had messages that help you define what is the soul or the spirit? Um, so, my first question, I'm going to just bring it up so we can all see it, is what is the essence of the soul according to your experiences and connections with the spirit world?
Hmm. Wow, I like what a great question. And before I kind of go into this question here, is Robert, you're not alone. When I started out on my journey, and was I a medium? I didn't know what I was. I was just a girl that simply had a thirst and interest in understanding a little bit more about the afterlife. I want to know where I came from before I came here. Um, my journey started a little bit with past life regression. I thought if I could take a regression and go back to where I came from, meaning before I was born as Jennifer, maybe I'd be able to understand why I didn't feel like I fit in, why I didn't feel like people were being honest, why I felt things were different than how I had been brought up. Uh, and this, I'm going to use the word thirst because I couldn't get enough of it. This journey, thankfully, brought me to a place that I got to study with, if I want to call them spiritual individuals, those that have had the experience of working with the afterlife, working with our loved ones. And when I was able to be a part of a community, I felt like I belonged. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't have girlfriends when I grew up or I didn't have relationships and all that kind of fun stuff, but I never felt like I don't know if anybody else has ever felt that. It's just like you can be in a room with people and you all have, you're all the same age, you're doing the same thing, and I'm bored. I didn't want to be there. I felt lonely. I don't know if anybody else has ever had that, but if you have, I'd love to hear how you handled it or if you're still in that space or that place. But when I got into understanding a little more about the afterlife, someone, it was a tutor, explained something, and it took me a little bit to kind of let it kind of go through my head because I had all these concepts of, how I'd been brought up, how my school, and I'm out of high school, you guys, and I'm out of college. And so I'm doing this study now, my spiritual journey, and I couldn't get enough of it. But when this one tutor spoke about the vastness of our soul, I was like, I need to understand, what is the soul? What is the soul? So everybody has an opinion, and everybody has maybe believe, or you may, agree, and some people won't agree. But before I know, and I'm just rambling here, but I want to kind of set the foundation on this. And I ended up going to a school, and the school is in England. It's called Arthur Findlay College. And if anybody's ever been there, I'd love to hear what you think about it. It is a the spiritual union, the National Union, owns this incredible, I'm going to call it a castle. There's no other way to describe it. And that's where tutors from all over the world come and spend time with individuals that are curious about their abilities. And it's all different classes. And we, as a group of students, there was 100 of us, we had to go sit in a room called the sanctuary. And if you've been there before, I'd love to hear what you think about the sanctuary and the beautiful windows and just the sense that you get when you walk in that place. But we were to sit in there, and we were to attune, and we were to allow our spirit to connect with our higher self and to the unseen world. No one told me what the spirit was or what my higher self was, and I didn't know what attuning was. So I went there for my entire course, had no idea what the heck I was doing. So and I didn't feel I could ask anybody. I was like, and you know what, that's me being ignorant. That's probably being selfish. I probably should have raised my hand and said, what does this mean? So I love that we're starting our very first episode talking about this, because if anybody else is out there that is curious, what's the difference between our spirit and our soul, our higher self, the universe? I mean, there's all different words that we can use here.
I have to comment on the something that happened recently in Miami when we had our Miami event with Philip Dykes and Carrie McLeod, also evidential mediums from the UK, and they were doing a sitting in the power meditation where we were all in the room in the dark, and it was before the workshop started, and I was literally in my mind seeing my body and myself across the room from like another perspective.
Hmm.
So I was deep in meditation, and I just literally saw a picture of myself on the other side of the room sitting here with my head down, and I felt like it was different. You know, it was like maybe it's the higher self, maybe it's the soul looking down on, you know, Robert Lyon sitting in this trying to make sense of everything. But it wasn't just like a picture because I like felt like something for myself. It's kind of hard to explain, but I felt like that love
Mm.
for myself from this other point of view. Um, I thought that was really fascinating. I haven't, you know, told anybody about that until just now, but it was a pretty incredible experience. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think I'm on to something there. Maybe I don't know.
You are onto something. What I understand what happened to you is when you sit in the power or you attune, what I understand it to be is that you are stepping into your energy, and you're connecting with your creator, a higher source. So you may believe in God, you may believe in something else. It doesn't matter. This is irrelevant. This is not about religion. This is about understanding there is something bigger than us. And so when we sit in the power, we attune. And what attune means, it's a little bit different than Reiki attunement. So if any of you out there are Reiki masters or work with Reiki, they use the word attunement. But the attunement for someone such as myself that works with the spirit world is that I attune my energy to a higher source. It's kind of like plugging into a cell phone, or plugging your cell phone in so that it can have power. And Robert, what I'm curious is when this happened to you, did you feel, well, you already said that you felt this love. What else, what were the other feelings that you were getting with this?
I, you know, that's all I really remember is just seeing myself across the room and saying, you know, that's part of me, and I kind of felt like kind of emotional about it. Like I wanted to cry.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
um,
yeah.
yeah, it was really intense. And that's the first time that's happened to me. But also, you know, I haven't in my life sat in the power that often. I only really learned about it in 2019. You know, prior to 2019, everything was different. So I'm growing and learning with you guys, with all the mediums and that I've been working with, and doing the documentary about Phil and Carrie, learning so much and learning to recognize so many things. And when I look in kind of hindsight at the dreams that I had when I was a kid, they're so vivid that I can still remember them as if
Mm,
they
cool.
happened last week. And, you know, I kind of, you know, think, well, you know, what were those dreams about? You know, how does it relate to all this? Was it the spirit world? Was it the, you know, etheric plane, or whatever, you know, like all these different things that you can call it. Um, it wasn't just a dream. Like, you know, I had dreams of like my grandmother coming or my grandfather coming in and his face talking to me in this room for like an hour saying everything's going to be fine. It's like,
Oh,
why did I had that dream at 13 years old, and I can still remember it as if it was, you know, a memory from last week. Um, so it's all really fascinating.
was your
Um,
father or was your grandfather on, is he on the other side when
yes,
had he passed?
he had already passed. Yeah. Yeah, it
So
was
what
like the
I
day. It was like the day of or the night of.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, what I understand that to be is a visitation,
Right.
that his soul connected with your soul.
Hmm.
And the best way he knew or he could relate or communicate to you is you seeing him in your mind's eye or in your head.
Hmm.
And him letting you know through his words or his feelings that everything was going to be all right is exactly what so many individuals that their loved ones have left them, they feel that. So I don't know if anybody else has ever had a visitation from their loved one, and it could have happened, you know, 30 years ago, or it happened, 30 days ago. But a visitation is very clear and you'll never, ever forget it. And they're lovely.
I've had several of them. Yeah, they're amazing. So before we move on with this topic, the question I just asked, I interviewed evidential medium Dominic Bogue from Scotland
Yes.
last week, and I put it out as a little mini series on YouTube. And I just want to play a clip from that because it pertains to this topic. And here it
He's
goes.
an amazing medium, you guys. Amazing.
Here we go.
Where is the soul? What is the soul? I believe us as a living human being in this physical body, we are the soul. We are a soul. We are a soul as a living individual in this vessel, if you would, in this meat suit that we call the physical body. So when we are first born, when we come into this world and we take our first breath, that's when our soul is born. And as we grow, whether we are here for 10 minutes or 10 years or maybe even 50 years, as we grow as an individual, our soul grows with us. So as much as I am Dominic and I identify as Dominic and I identify as myself as an individual, I am actually being given that opportunity to live through having a soul.
Wow.
I just love Dominic. I love his personality. He's such a nice person, and I love his accent. Um,
So do I.
but there's more to come from that. So I'd like to go on to our next topic with what is the soul? And the question is, how do spirits describe the journey and evolution of the soul from one life to the next?
So I want to make sure that I want to give a little bit of definition to what words mean, because going back to what is the spirit, what is the soul, what is the higher self, some of those words are interchangeable, but they all mean something different to me. So the soul, exactly like Dominic said, is that the soul is something that becomes alive inside of my physical body. So what you see right now is just, as he said, a meat sack. I'm not sure if I'd use those words, but yeah, a meat suit. But my soul lives within Jennifer right now. And so when I take my last breath, my soul will leave my body and it will go back home. That's my understanding. Now, my spirit is my connection as I sit here with you all right now to my creator, when I want to say my connection to the universe. Now, those are my words. You may have other words that you use. So the spirit and the soul, to me, mean two different things. So answering this question, how do the spirits describe the journey and the evolution of the soul from one life to the next? So really, it would be the soul communicating via me. The medium is, how are they describing this journey? And the easiest way that I can say is that they have a sense of a higher knowing far beyond their intelligence of what they had when they were here in the physical. And they completely understand why situations happened in their life, why they had the disease, why they had an illness, disability. And they also understand why they had to leave early. Now, you and I, Robert, you and I, and any of our listeners here, we just get so caught up in the word why. Why did this happen? Why? Why did my baby have to leave? Why did this accident, murder, suicide, illness take their life? And in working with the spirit world, the soul is here to complete its journey, its purpose. Now, do I know what your purpose is or your journey? No, only you know that. But to go back to your questionnaire, your question is using the word evolution is that they're like, okay, I completed this. Sort of, you guys, as you've completed a class or a workshop. Now, I don't want to minimize our life as just being a workshop, but we're here to learn. And our learning isn't really as lofty as everybody thinks it is. And I kind of maybe just jumping into another question here, but going back, the bottom line here is that the souls on the other side, your loved ones, my loved ones, say they have a higher sense of understanding why they did what they did. Are they proud? Some of them no.
Do you think that, because when I really think about this concept, the soul existed before we were born here? Well, Dominic said his belief is that the soul starts with the birth. But I've also heard different beliefs that the soul existed already in infinity, and then we make a decision to come here and do this, this adventure. But my parents gave me my name, Robert Lyon. So what was my soul's name? Who was that person, or who was that entity? What is that? What do you think of that? Do you know any? Have you ever heard anything that says like, well, yeah, your name was given to you at birth by your human parents, but you are something else before that?
Well, I mean, wow, that is a talk show in itself. I mean, I love even what you just talked about. So I agree with Dominic, other than I believe the soul is with the mother in the womb. Now, does it happen at, conception? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if I took that first breath and my soul was with me, but there's something innately in me that makes me feel that I, Jennifer, or whatever my name was going to be, was already alive inside of my mother. That's my belief. But I love your question of, who was I before I came here, before my soul took on the name of Jennifer Brazier? Or my physical took on the name. I don't know if my soul took on the name. I don't know. Okay, this is such a side track here, but when I was younger, I hated my name. I hated the name Jennifer. I was like, what a dumb name. It's too long to spell. You know what? There's no license plate out there that has the name Jennifer on it. Where I didn't want to be Jennifer. So I renamed myself, and I asked my friends and my family to rename me and to call me something else. And everyone kind of like, okay, we'll call you that. Well, it lasted, you guys, maybe 3 months. And then I was like, nah, I think I'll be Jennifer again. So
what was the name?
What do you think? I'm going to just go ahead and guess. What do you think I was? Now, go back. I'm a product of the 80s. So this is an 80s name. And I thought it was so cool back then.
Clarice?
Oh, jeez. No, I wasn't Clarice. I love Jodie Foster, though. I probably would have liked Jodie. No, it was Heather.
Oh, cool.
How boring. I mean, sorry for any of you Heathers out there, but yeah, I wanted to be something else. So I'm curious now that I realize that I am Jennifer, but I get to be different versions of Jennifer in this lifetime. And what I mean by that is that if I want to be the medium, I pursued that. If I want to be a police officer, I pursued that. If I wanted to be a gymnast, I didn't pursue that. But where I'm going with this is that we have choices, we have options. And so our name is it's just a name. It's just a product of our family, our culture, more than likely. So I'd be curious to have all my, and I believe in past lives. I believe that this is not my first rodeo. This is not the first time I've been here. I feel like we are always trying to do it a little bit better. We're here to learn. And so if I don't get it this lifetime, I get another chance if I choose. Now, that could be that's deep, what I just talked about. But going back to the statement of, what our name, who are we? I think in each lifetime we take on the persona of whoever we are, our culture, our religion, schooling.
This is really interesting. Our friend, and she's live with us right now in the chat, Roseanne Norris, sent in this
Oh,
question.
Roseanne.
Hi, Roseanne. I heard that only a part of our soul comes into our body and the rest stays on the other side. That's really interesting. That's an interesting way of thinking. I mean, what do you think about that? I just, that this, anything's possible, I think.
Well, I have heard this before, this concept, or you know, and someone explained it to me is that imagine the sea. The sea is of, the depths of water. And that if you to take an eye drop, that is our soul that goes back to our creator. That drop goes back into that massive of sea. So when we reincarnate, I know you guys, I'm saying the word reincarnate. So if you don't believe in that, just listen for a minute, is that when I choose to come back so that I can continue my learning for my soul, that eyedropper goes back to that sea, that creator, sucks back up another eyedropper, and then goes back in. And so, yes, Roseanne, we do leave. I mean, we leave a part of our soul. But I don't know if I'm 100% bought into that. I'm going to be very honest about that.
I've heard the concept also that ourselves are part of this greater creator of the universe that we can't comprehend as human beings, but we're all part of the same source and experiencing, like basically the guy that lives across the street from me is also me. We're all part of the same creator. And that's really hard to grasp, but it's actually a positive thing if you think about it, because love your neighbor because they're really part of you. We're all part of this like mind. Like when you see a flock of 100 birds flying through the air and they all switch in mid-flight on an instant, because they're all connected in some way, and that could possibly be what us on Earth, humans, our souls are all connected to the greater God or source or universe, whatever you want to call it. It's all. I mean, if I think about it too much, I start to get a headache. It's like
May give you a headache. But you know what? On Roseanne's question, I just want to throw this out there. This has been asked to me many times, and I'm not sure how to really answer it, but it falls into the same question here, is that if you've lost a loved one and you're still here in the physical and they decide to reincarnate, will they be there to meet you when you go back home? So is it only part of them? I mean, it's a mind bender. I don't remember. That's the beauty of all of this, is that we get what I call amnesia when we're here in the physical. We don't remember what it's like to be back home.
right.
So I don't know. I really, you guys, I lean on how it makes me feel, how I kind of play with it a little bit. Like, how does this make me feel? Do I feel icky inside? Or do I feel like, oh my God, this has got to be it? I trust that intuitive piece within me. So I don't know. I just want to throw that out there.
Let's do another Dominic clip before we move on to the next question.
Okay.
Many people will relate to their higher self as their soul. And there's two differences. For me, there is Dominic's intelligence as a consciousness, as just a normal person. But then there's that part of Dominic, the soul, that we can also communicate with as well. We could reach into that on the intuition side of things as well. But the easiest way I can say about the soul, for layman terms, if you would, for a better word, is you are a living soul as who you are in this physical body, in this physical state that you call life itself.
Wow. He said that very well.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. I really just want to applaud him for what he said, because I agree absolutely with that.
Anybody that gets a opportunity to go see Dominic demonstrate or take his courses in person should definitely take that opportunity, because it's really great. We have on my YouTube channel, All Things Afterlife, we have a whole demonstration by Dominic there that anybody can watch.
What's Dominic's last name?
Boag, B-O-A-G.
Okay.
Um, and he's a good friend too. I've known him that long, but he's amazing. So here's the next question. Can you explain the relationship between our current personality and our soul's true nature?
Well, I love this question because I teach a class on this. And I believe that we all have come here with a soul purpose, a plan, a destiny. You know, I want to say that there isn't one of us that is worthless or, is a mistake. Our soul came here because it knew it needed to accomplish something. And if it was for 10 seconds or for, like Dominic said, 50 or 100 years, my personality today, who you get with Jennifer right now, 100%, is part of my soul. It is my soul's nature. I'm going to assume that when I go back to the other side and I communicate through another medium, you're going to get this personality. And I'm going to assume that when I come back in another life or another lifetime or a previous lifetime, there were shades of this personality. And what I mean by the personality is probably my likes and dislikes. Now, I don't really remember. This is just what I feel and what I believe. But I want to chime in, and I know that's not part of the question, but you guys, if you don't know what your purpose is, if you don't know why your soul is here, please start that journey. Because living a life that is empty or living a life that you feel has to be for someone else or something else, you're selling yourself a little short. So I didn't mean to jump up on a platform there and say that, but I felt the need. I had to push it out. Okay, that's my personality. You're going to get that too.
Well, I suppose I have somewhat of a similar personality as I did when I was young, but I look back at my 20-year-old self and I am not the same person. Yeah, I'm almost 50 now. I am not the same person I was when I was 30. That person's like, that's not me anymore. So I wonder, how that relates to when we cross over and move on. Because I don't particularly miss my 20-year-old self. I think I'm a lot better now than I was when I was 20. But it's weird, right? Because that was me. I mean, that was my experience. That was my life. And now I'm here. I'm like, oh, I don't miss that 20-year-old self. Who cares about that guy? Who cares about the 30-year-old self? When we get to the other side, we're going to be like, well, who cares about the whole thing? I don't know.
Well, I believe that, my 18-year-old self, my 25-year-old self, as I progressed in my age, changed because, yes, of what my desires were. And I'm going to go back to my soul, is that when we follow our soul purpose, and how do we know what our soul purpose is what are our values? I mean, if we went back to your 20-year-old self, Robert, your values may be different than they are today. I mean, you own a home, you have a child, you have a business. You may not have had that when you were in your 20s. So that's what I think, how we change, but our values typically stay the same until we have a big life change, such as a child, schooling, divorce. But yes, our personality may change a little bit. And I feel like the personality is just a layer of what the soul is. Now that's I'd love to hear what anybody else would think about that too.
I still feel inside as mischievous and rambunctious as I did as a kid, but I just don't act on it. like I used to. Like I used to jump trains and do
Oh,
graffiti
jeez.
and steal things. It's like obviously I wouldn't do any of that anymore. But that was like my previous self. I could write a whole book on my childhood going into my 20s. It was like the movie Stand By Me. It was a blast. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But yeah, that's not me anymore at all. Um, it's fun to think back on those memories, though.
Our responsibilities change from when we are younger until we're older. And also, our physical body starts to age and we don't have that energy anymore. I'd be curious to watch you jump on a train that's moving.
I
I'd
could
be curious. I
I,
mean,
I could do it. It's,
oh,
I could do it today. It wasn't that hard. You just need good running shoes because the train
oh,
when it
you
would
got,
come by.
are you out? Wait a minute. Are you kind of teaching people how to jump on a train, a moving
Yes,
train? Please,
correct.
disclaimer, disclaimer.
We're gonna get a copyright strike or whatever. No, yeah, you would wait for the train to come, and then it would the because where we live, the freight train would come by and be going so slow that if you ran your fastest, it'd be going just a little bit faster, and then you'd reach up and grab on the ladder and hoist yourself up, and we would all ride it, and it would be like 4 or 5 of us guys, and then one day the train picked up so much speed that we couldn't jump off because we'd usually just ride it for
Oh,
100 yards. This train took us 8 miles to like the Everglades, and we finally got to jump off. And this is before cell phones. This is before it was probably beeper time. This was 1992, and we had to walk all the way back,
good.
but through tomato fields during a lightning storm. And then we got to a canal. We had to jump in the canal fully clothed with our shoes on, and then walk the rest of the way soaking wet. It was that's a great adventure.
So you're who you are today, almost 50, Robert. How would you 8 miles of walking through tomato fields, going through the water? You know what? You may enjoy this. I know you're kind of spicy, so I could see you wanting to do this.
Well, I mean, I do that kind of stuff still with my photojournalism. For example,
Mm.
just a couple of weeks ago, I was hired to go film some races, some car races, which is really the reason why I got into this stuff in the first place, because that's how I met Sandra Champlain. But
Uh,
anyways, I was invited to come film a race up in upstate New York, and that is just so exciting because you're putting your physical body right next to the racetrack with a camera, and these cars are going by at 180 miles an hour, and like anything could fly off and hit me. Um, so it's an adrenaline rush, and I still I guess I seek that every now and then. So, but I definitely have chilled out a lot since the 20s, my 20s and 30s.
well, there's a part of your soul that likes that, like you said, adrenaline rush.
Right.
I would not, there's not even any part of me that would want to be there. First off, it'd be too loud for me. And then I'd be worried. And yeah, so I am a completely different. I like the quiet, the solitude, but I also like people and I love to hear what people think. But I understand the adrenaline. And, I think that we all seek that on some level. Our soul needs that pull, but I think we all do it a little bit different.
I've decided in this stage of my life that I'm not doing any kind of gigs in like crazy places, riots or combat zones. Like in my 20s, I covered, riots and things like that. I had rocks thrown at me and I was tear gassed, and all the different. Yeah, I have a photo of myself with a whole gas mask thing on with a camera, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. But now I wouldn't sign up for that kind of stuff.
Oh, mercy.
I'd rather
No,
go. I'd rather get a beach chair and sit by the ocean.
thank you. I would rather be sitting by a pool with, yeah, no, I'm,
So on to our next Dominic clip, and then a next question. And for
okay.
anybody watching, you guys feel free to send us another question or join in on Riverside. And let's see, where is it?
It's important to realize that when the soul does pass away from this physical body, the soul then evolves into that spirit. We are able to reflect back, and we are able to look at the growth that we had, whether it's 10 minutes or 10 years, whatever. We can look back on that duration. And that's the beauty of it. That's the thing about us here living, having this experience, if you would. That's truly what we are doing, is we're embarking on a journey that in reality we don't really have a map or a true destination. We're actually just trying to exist in the best way that we possibly can as a soul, as a human being.
Nice.
Yeah, I like his words there, is that we're just doing the best we can to exist. And when working with the spirit world, and they will come to their loved one to explain a situation or to talk, maybe it's they're talking about they weren't that good of a parent or a spouse or a child. There is no judgment, meaning that they were coping when they were here. Now you may go, well, I know when that person was in my life, they were downright foul, they were rude, they were mean, they were horrific. And now that they're on the other side, they're just saying they coped. Well, that's kind of an easy way out. Well, kind of tapping into what Dominic said there is that, what's the life conditions with those that are mean? Is it illnesses? Are they defiant? There is so much that goes into all of that I don't think there's a one-stop answer for that question. I really don't.
So, are we able to reflect back on this physical experience?
Oh my goodness, 100% yes. That is how our loved ones work with a medium, is they share with us their memories. They share with us their personality, their characteristics, what they did for a living. And that's how the recipient, us, when our loved one comes through, is that we recognize them. So when they're reflecting back, the main thing that, they'll give them memories, but the main thing that I have found with them working with me is that love is absolutely strong or even stronger. It's so powerful to feel, to sense, and to know that the essence of the soul on the other side is just illuminating that love even stronger. So it's part of building onto, bringing that message to their loved one, is giving the stories and the memories.
And yes, I agree 100%. And I know this is a fact because I've had loved ones come to me through readings given by you and Phil or Carrie or Scott Milligan, or all these great mediums that I've become friends with, and these stories that like my grandfather tells me through the medium proves to me that yes, they are totally aware of the whole physical experience and remember every detail and can share those memories with us, so we know it's them. And that's incredible. I really feel bad when people just they don't want to listen, they are atheists, or they don't believe in life after death, or they think that mediumship is negative. It's crazy because it's such a great thing to have, and everybody should seek it out and hear from their loved ones through mediumship, and also just sitting in the power of meditation. You don't even necessarily need someone to tell you these things. You can go sit in the dark and get the messages yourself if you're open to it.
And I think that's part of what our soul's journey is, Robert, is that some of us aren't open to that because of maybe how they were brought up, and it could be religious or schooling, or who knows. They don't want anyone to see that they are sensitive. And I'll tell you personally from my side is that I'm extremely sensitive. And when I was younger and growing up, it's like I would do things to not let my sensitive side show. And, you know, now that I'm older and it's like, you know what, I got to be who I am. And so I don't know if anybody else tried to be a poser or tried to be something they weren't because they wanted to fit in with their friends or their family or even relationships. I mean, spouses, it's like you pretend to be something you're not until you can't do it anymore.
Right.
And that's where, as soon as we start to live, authentically, and we come from that place of, I know this sounds so, big and lofty, but we come from that place of love, doing it for the right reasons, treating people the way we want to be treated. Then our soul ignites, it expands. And that's why we're here. Honestly, it's why we're here. So.
Yep, I agree 100%. That's why, that's why we do what we're doing. That's why we're doing this show. Something, nudged me to doing this. I'm not a TV host or a reporter. I'm a behind the scenes guy. I'm very shy in front of people. So for me to do this and go live on YouTube, there was something nudging me this way, and I got the message and I'm doing it. And we'll see how it goes. I'm sure.
I love that you're trusting yourself instead of listening to what other people are telling you, or going back to the version of you that has those limiting beliefs that you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if? What if you say something that people laugh at? What if?
No,
Who cares?
I always say, like, who wants to watch, me on camera? Like, why?
Who doesn't want to? I mean, who doesn't?
But it's me. That's so, like, I always think, like, why would anyone want to watch me?
You know what? I totally understand. It's like, why would people want to work with me? But this is beyond you and I. That's that ego part of us, that, that left side of our brain that says, okay, don't do this, because what if you fail? What if you say something stupid? What if people have rude comments about you? You know what? Again, when you get to a place in your life and you're just like, I don't really care what people think about me anymore. And I know that sounds really like way out there, but I really don't care. And if somebody has something foul to say, I don't know why I'm using the word foul today. Reminds me of a bird, but but if somebody says something negative, it's just like I'm not going to own that energy anymore. As long as I know that I'm not doing it intentionally. And you guys, man, when people are telling you you can't do something, they're limiting themselves, and that they're just projecting that on you. So
we've got another question from the chat.
Okay.
Why does religion discourage or even ban communicating with spirit? And that's from Roseanne. This is a great
Wow.
one. This is something that I love to talk about.
You go ahead. I've got a strong answer for this one, so I'd love to hear what you have to say, Robert.
Well, I think it's because the people in power want to stay in power. This goes all the way back to 2,000 years ago, or maybe even earlier. But what better way to keep the gold and the riches and the power than through the power of religion and kind of forcing people to believe a certain way. So why would they want us to have all this knowledge and enlightenment when it's easier for us to just step in line and do what we're told, believe a certain thing? That's kind of my take on it.
I agree with you on that. I feel that fear is easier for people to react than love. So my opinion is that certain religions will discourage or tell you you're going to hell, or that there's demons, or all sorts of really scary stuff that'll happen if you talk to your loved ones. Now, I have yet to ever in my work ever be aware of that because I don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe that also religions, in going back, if it is 2,000 plus years, is that they had limited knowledge. And what they heard from the person next door became the word. Now, I don't know if any of you are in the United States or maybe another country right now, but we are in the throes of an election. And the commercials and any sort of little blurps that are out there, they're all negatively fueled. Because we would rather hear something negative about someone than something positive. Now think about that. Gossip. Go back to, the person called, did you hear? Now, how many people have ever got the call? Let me tell you what she did. It was so nice. You rarely hear that. So going back to religion, in that concept there is that, they're trying to hold their band together. And so if you did not stay within the band or that construct of what their belief was, you were exiled. So it goes back to like the Mean Girls. Think about that. The concept of the mean, they say there's 4 or 5 girls and they just gossip. And if you're not wearing the right clothes and you're not doing the right thing, then you can't be a part of that. They don't want anything to do with you. It's the same thing. And I totally disagree with it. It's horrible. It's a horrible way for people to think our world is or their life. So great question, though.
Yep. Thanks, Roseanne. Thanks for sticking around. And we're going to
Yeah.
wrap it up pretty soon here so I can go tubing in Central Florida.
So I can go get my car to get worked on. Thank you very much, Robert.
I've got one more Dominic clip, if you don't mind. So,
Yes, and I have one last thing to say at the end, too, before we leave.
Yep. A couple more things. But here's
Okay.
Dominic for the last video.
I'm a very simple thinking person. I've never been to the spirit world per se and died. I don't have the physical answers. What I do have is experience, and I certainly believe I'm intelligent enough to know that there's a bigger picture. I don't know that bigger picture, and I think it's important for a lot of people to not try to focus on that bigger picture, because there's a lot of things that within the universe, the divine, the spirit world, whatever you want to call it, I truly believe there's a lot of things that we're not supposed to know in this physical attribute until we actually get to more the spirit side of life.
Wow.
What do you think?
Oh, I agree exactly with what he said there. If we get so caught up on trying to understand an answer that we're never going to know. You're going to get opinions, and you're going to get, a scientist will tell you this. You've had somebody that's had a near-death experience will tell you this. In reality, we need to live now. We need to live today. We need to make sure that you have the right swimsuit on today when you go tubing. I have to make sure that I bring a book with me to read when I go to get my car worked on. We have to live in the now. If not, we're out way out there. And has any of you ever met anybody that they are so way out there that they can't even work in the basic everyday world? They are so preoccupied on what will happen that they're really missing the beauty of why we're here. We're to have these experiences, and they happen breath by breath.
I have a really good friend who, whenever I go to lunch with him, he's on his cell phone texting almost the entire time. It drives me crazy because we're there together, just 2 of us, having lunch, and he's somewhere else. And I just stay quiet, wait for him to finish. It's like people got to put down the phones when you're having a one-on-one. Just sit there and enjoy the pizza, your beer, and your company, and all that other stuff. Your Instagram can wait for later. Live in it now. It's perfect.
We can't get that time back. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's a good example because it's so relevant. I travel quite a bit, and this is what I see walking through the airports, walking anywhere I'm at. People are just looking down. They're not looking up. They're not seeing the sky. They're not seeing the people around them. We have to live now.
If you notice, well, you were in Europe recently, you notice the older people will sit in the piazzas and the squares, and they'll just be sitting there with a beer with nothing in their hands, just watching the world go by. They're wiser, they're not, addicted to the phone, and like the kids, you'll see them all run by with their phones, but you'll see these like random people just sitting around and just enjoying the piazza, the park, or whatever it is, with no distractions. I just think, I guess, we get a little bit wiser when we're older and we know how to take care of our time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And what a great concept. Because, yeah, you see those individuals and you're just like, what are they talking about? They're not
Yeah,
worried about where they need to be or what they have to do next. They're with their friend, their family member, and they're enjoying themselves. They're at peace.
and I'm not like saying that I don't do that too. Sometimes when I go walk my dogs, I put on the headphones and I listen to like news or political stuff. But then some days I'll wake up and say, you know what? I just want to hear the birds
Hmm.
and feel the sunshine and not be in a podcast while I'm out, walking my dogs. So, and it always is a better, it's always a better experience that way because I come back a little bit more refreshed instead of stressed out by
Oh,
whatever's
yes.
happening in the world.
That's a nice way to relax is just get out in nature and just be with nature. Just be.
Well, we went out into nature a lot on our show,
Oh,
Past But Present. Little plug here. So if you haven't seen it already, please go to Past But Present and you can download or rent our series. It is coming to Tubi TV soon, and it will be free there, but with commercials. And I don't like to watch commercials, so I'd rather just buy it. But also, you supporting us because we want to put out another season, and we do this without the backing of a Hollywood producer or budget. It's a very grassroots kind of program, and we really are happy with the way our first season came out. So we hope you watch and enjoy. And then, if you don't mind, like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and because we really want to build this live show over the next few months to years, see where it takes us. And I think that's about it for today.
and if somebody is interested in being a guest and you have a topic you'd like to bring on, please reach out to us. Let us know what that is. Now, Robert, we need to talk about next Thursday.
Okay.
Next Thursday, you guys, which is what day of the week or what day is that? Today's the 8th.
That would be the 11th.
Um, the 11th. Sorry, you guys, I don't have a calendar in front of me. The 11th of July, same time, same place. There'll be a new link. Is that we'll be back and we're going to be connecting with the spirit world. I'm going to be doing some readings. They may be mediumship, they may be intuitive, they may be whatever the spirit world would like me to talk about. So if you would like to be a part of it, please join us. I would love to give you a reading, a connection, or a message from those that are unable to offer that to you. So thank you. Thank you all for showing up today. I appreciate it. I'm excited about this, and now I know how to jump on a train that's moving.
All right, guys. Have a great
Bye.
day. We love you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.